We're in the 50-pound brain labs today to tear apart the old starter. I got to thinking about what I said on the video last time about taking it apart after I order parts, and that was stupid. Let me take it apart so I figure out all the parts that I need and do one order, because shipping's not free. So let's get at it. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is, I know it works as it's, well, I mean, not as it sits right now, but it did work in this configuration. So I'm going to make sure that this end cap goes on the same way. Now I could just say, okay, that the battery stud is on the shield side, because there's only two ways it can go, because there's only two bolts, so it can be 180 degrees. So if I do that, but I'm going to mark it anyway. It looks like it actually, it looks like it already has been. For that very same reason, there's a dot there and there's a dot there. That's just not normal bang around marks. Those are perfect circles. So somebody else had the same idea, because you know, we don't want to get marked off at Pebble Beach because we put the starter together wrong. And as you and I both know, I'm not going to Pebble Beach. I'll drive by it, but I'm not going to Pebble Beach. We drive our cars. We just don't park it on the grass and look at it. So, alright. Need a flat blade screwdriver. Before we get too far down this road, because it's already coming apart, I should mark this side too. There we go. Okay. Okay, the inside, I don't know if you can see it, looks good. Okay, I'll have to get the brush carrier off. This just feels gunked up. Alright, I'm going to do this. Give me my witness as to how many of these shims go on the end. I don't know, Fred may have had this rebuilt. That's my video record. But it seems gunky. So we can chuck this up in the lathe, and I think we'll just end up being able to clean this up. We won't have to actually take any material off, which will be sweet. And that's that. Wow. Okay, there's a washer in the end. Or spacer. Big one too. Okay, so we'll get a bushing. Just because we can and because we're here. for both ends. Let me get some rags. Yeah, we've got a little bit of a film on them. I don't know if you can see that. I'll have to check with a meter and see if that enamel, if that's bare conductor, or if it's just the enamel's chipped off, but it's still insulated. That all looks okay. This thing I can get. I don't know that. This inner thing, I think with the big threads, the big mason jar threads there, Moss still has a Bendix, they do not. So I'll have to get this off. And look at that. So I decided we're going to replace any parts that we can get. Since we've got this thing torn apart, I don't ever want to do this again. So let's look at this. It's got some red chafe marks, but that may have been in the from the previous starter housing, because those don't look like they've ever rubbed here. I know there's a way to test each one of these segments to make sure they're not shorted. I'll have to look it up on the interwebs to see how you do it. It's been so long. Yeah, you used to have to know how to do it when I was in the Air Force, and I would rebuild starter generators and jazz like that. But if we thought the armature was bad, we could order another one. They were still available. We didn't do any rework on the armatures. I mean, we didn't even turn this part down. We just got a new one and sent it back. Maybe the overhaul depot would turn those down. I have no idea. Didn't care then. I enjoyed fixing planes more than fixing parts back then. So now, especially on a day like today, where it can be in the shop, fixing parts isn't so bad, because fixing planes are out in the heat and the parts are in the air conditioning. I guess that's the wisdom of age. It's pretty amazing how beat up this thing is. And it looks like it's because it's been in a vise. Not necessarily. I mean, there's some, I don't know what you would call that. Circumferential, I don't know, did I just make a word up? I have no idea. You know, striations like it had rubbed against the stator. Or it could just be that that's when they built this and then they would just turn it down in a lathe to make it round. But I don't know if you can see these. Those are like jaw marks from something. Kind of horrible. But like I said, it worked. It's worked now for a good while, so I have no reason to believe that it won't still work again. Alright, we're going to try and get this snap ring off and keep it salvageable. But I don't know how successful we'll be. This is a pretty stout ring. And these aren't exactly the pliers for the job, but they're working. Oh, they once this ring bends, there's no spring left to it. Okay, I'll have to get a new one. because yeah, now this little doodad is just done. Okay, well that's fine. I can figure something out. Yeah, see? Oh well. Okay, so I don't know what retains this. Interesting. Because if you twist it, then that does that. And that's a buffer for in the chance that when this thing extends, the teeth are hitting against the teeth of the flywheel, and so it will do that, give you some push, and then when the starter starts to turn, and now these teeth are between the flywheel teeth, it'll push it into place. Okay, but yeah, okay, I don't know how that thing's retained. Let's look down in here. Oh, I see ya. Well, let's see. There's a snap ring there. It looks like that'll be good times to get out. But I don't see an end to it. And I don't know if you guys can... Oh, nope, nope. I'm looking at that ring right there. But it looks continuous. I don't see any gap in that ring, which means it doesn't come off unless it is, oh wait a minute, it might be right there. Oh, there it is. Yep. Okay. Alright, let me get a screw stick. So the gap is like in the ring is like right here. So where'd you know? Oh, it's right at the end of this notch. Okay, so I've got to push it down and out to get it out of the groove that it's in. And I don't know if I can do that. You see it? I don't know if you can see it. There we go. There we go. Hopefully this thing can be salvaged as well. Okay. There we go. This looks like it might even be salvageable. Looky there. Now, did I accomplish anything? Oh, yeah, there we go. Look at that. And what holds this on? Oh, there's another ring. Oh, no, that's the spring. So what does hold this on? This. That's interesting. What does hold that on? And maybe it's part of the armature, if we were able to get new armatures, which we're not. Yeah, I guess it is part of the armature. Because I don't see how any of this is retained. There might be a ring in there, but that may be a one and done. Once you install it, you are done. It's not coming out. It's not for rebuild. If that's true, well then we can grease up the Bendix threads here and put it back together. Alright, so since we figured out that most of our other parts are probably okay, we are going to try and polish this up with some 320. I hope you can, well, you won't really need to hear me while I'm doing this, because it's going to be noisy. It actually has very little wear. I'm going to hit it again because I probably won't even need to take a cutting tool to it. I don't want to. I don't want to reduce the diameter any more than it needs to be. But you can see what's coming off on the emery cloth as it is. Yeah, I can't even. I'll turn it the other way just to see if we can catch anything else. Oh yeah, that did way more better. Yeah, I think that's clean enough. Alright, we'll give her a little spritz with the parts cleaner. We'll recycle that. This is actually not a bad looking armature. Clean the rest of the parts. We never did get the brush cap off. I know it comes off because there's a pry spot. Alright, let's see. I don't know if our little teeny screwdriver, maybe it won't require a whole lot of. Oh, nope, not at all. Okay, right up. There we go. Okay. So let's get this brush out. There we go. Okay, so these two brushes. Well, that one's crimped in there. Or is it? No. Is there a screw? Kind of looks like a screw. Nope. Yeah, it's crimped in there. Alright, so we need to get gonna suck. I mean, I see how it's done. It's just a simple bend over tang, so we can do it. It doesn't scare me. Just none of this stuff was made to be maintained, really. I don't think. Doesn't seem to be. Oh wow. So I'm looking at this. This is soldered on as well. It's just interesting. They didn't use screws. Well, that's going to be good times. This one's in the same boat. Put this little screwdriver right through my hand. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, there we go. Okay. Look at these bushings. I'm going to order new ones and replace them anyway, but they do show somewhere. They're not bad. I've seen worse on VWs mostly because the early Volkswagen starters were supported. The Bendix shaft was supported by a bushing in the bell housing. No one ever changed them, and so eventually they would be wore out down to the aluminum in the bell housing. They would wear through the bushing because they had been there so long. And this one, this one's super thin. That's interesting. They're going to get changed no matter what. This one I think has been changed because of how much it protrudes out of the housing. It's kind of hard to inspect. And it doesn't look too bad. No, there is some slop there, and that'll contribute to the armature rub in the stator once that gets kind of sloppy. And this one takes a pretty big load because it's taken all the deflection of the Bendix gear, trying to hurt, all that mechanical force apart when it's trying to start the engine. So I'm sure there's an engineering term for it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So, all right. Do need to hose out this stator with something very gentle, but you can see there's a lot of copper in it. It's interesting, these windings right here. I don't know if you can see the tape, how the wrapping is kind of taken back. I don't know if it's just worn or if that's just the way it is.
I don't see. They're wrapped pretty well everywhere else, except for that one spot right there. So we'll get all this brush material out of here before we put it back together. So something that I noticed as I was looking at the parts, oh, it's Lucas, yeah. So Lucas made it to where it's kind of idiot-proof for assembly. So you got this big dimple there, or notch. You've got this raised bump on the mating, so it only goes one way, which is beautiful. And I'm sure that the other one's the same way, but let's see. Although I don't see it. I wonder if somebody ground it off, because it should be right there. That's what matches with the dimple on the brush holder end of the stator. Has them all both, right here and right here. So, no factozoid. So we'll do a couple little checkouts here. One is the fit on this. It's pretty sloppy. I don't know if you can see that. If it gets there, it's okay, but here. So we're going to get a new bushing for that. Same with brush holder end. So we'll get a new bushing for that as well, because those are available. And then, oh, in the Moss catalog, they actually show the dimensions of the brushes, and these brushes actually look like they're almost brand new. We're going to put new ones in. We'll keep these, but yeah, these look like they're almost brand new. Half-inch. I was thinking, for whatever reason, I was thinking that they were longer originally, and they are not. They're like a half-inch long. New. So what'll be good times is getting this uncrimped and soldered. So kind of interesting that they're not just grounded out. These two are insulated. These look like they actually have bonding strips to ground them out. So yep, we'll hit them with a little parts cleaner and get them cleaned up. So now we'll just do some basic checks. Make sure this thing's not shorted. To the case. Like that. That's, oh, well, let me get through them. Let me put these here. Let's see now. Well, how? I don't think. That'll be a dead short. just need to take these screws out. Take this whole rotor setup out. Okay. Let's mark where the stud goes, or the positive stud goes. Let's see if we can get those out. Alright, so we need to get the field winding mount bolts loose. It was going to be a pain in the rear. It only takes one to ruin the whole day. Okay. There we go. Hands are slipping. There we go. Okay. There's our pole pieces. Movie. So what we're going to do now is a quick shorted armature test. Let's see. Okay, so this spring is a good enough contact, and then we're just gonna I know there's a more thorough way of testing these. So that's good ground. That's grounded. Okay. Here's something, I forget what it was called. Like waved a hacksaw blade over it, and if it was shorted, it would vibrate. I'll call it like a buzz test or something like that. I don't remember back in the day. But okay, good. Right there. I don't know how much help this light is. Right there. That is arcing. Okay. Alrighty.